Well, a little bit of everything today, and topped it all off with a wicked lightning display in Scioto. It just felt like they were going to bring the roof down here in Scioto. The thunder and lightning for 20 minutes or so. It rained so hard that the track actually wasn't muddy, if that sounds normal to you. It poured and poured and poured. I really thought they were going to cancel, to be honest. This day and age, especially down here in southern Ohio, in Kentucky, we saw it, where there's lightning strikes in the area, they just aren't allowed to race. So they delayed the races for quite a while. They ripped those last 5 races off. They were going under the wire with the race ahead of ours, and they were saying, get ready to hook your horses. There was no time in between. They probably ran the last 6 off quite a bit faster than they ran the first 10 off. It goes without saying. This would have made more sense if I said the last 10. Anyway, they ran the last 6 off very, very fast. Let's just leave it at that. A long day. We had our ups and downs. Not many downs, a lot of ups. I went through the Pennsylvania horses, so I'll touch on them briefly in case you guys didn't get this video. Now, this video will be posted at 2:17 a.m. when I have Wi-Fi, when I get back to... Tell you who I feel bad for. Don't feel bad for me. I feel bad for Jason and Lauren. Have to stay in the test barn for an hour and a half, I think. They're not even getting home until after 3. And then Jason, I don't know about Lauren, but I know Jason said he has to leave to go back to Scioto late morning tomorrow. So I do feel bad for them. My day was long, but I get to leave Scioto, with adrenaline pumping because I just raced and I just won. And they get to sit around and wait until they release them from the test barn. So I do feel bad for them. Jason did a great job tonight. I know Kerry couldn't come out. So we were short a caretaker. He was running around getting everything ready and had all the horses ready to go. I didn't warm up Irresistible Sun. It was pouring rain, and I just said, no, it's not going to happen. So to the gentleman that warmed him up in the pouring rain, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Of all the horses, I knew he'd be the easiest to do anything with. I mean, I actually... Afterwards, I got thinking about it, and I'm like, maybe I should have went with him. This was his first start with the flip-flops on. We had taken them off specifically for here, and then it rained so hard the track was like concrete. So as we're post-braiding, I'm like, geez, I wish we had those flip-flops on. But he never, not an anxious moment for him. He was all business today. Man, he raced good. Really, really, really proud of him. And you guys know, like, if you look back at the sale, we're not always right. Obviously, Cherahola got hurt. But before she got injured, it looked like she was a Stallion Series fair type filly, and that was my top filly pick of the entire sale. I love Sedona Hill. I liked her a lot. But my top pick was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Cherahola. And on the colt side, I thought Prince Charmer, dollar for dollar, was the best one. We'll talk about him in a minute. There's a little bit more to unpack with him. But Irresistible Sun, if you go back and look, I talked about how this triumphant carrier, how could he possibly be my top pick? And he was. And what a sweetheart he's turned out to be. Just a gem to drive. Does nothing wrong. And really put it on. Really went to work in the last 3/8 of the mile after being quiet and very reserved for the first part of the mile. So I was very proud of him. So let's rewind all the way to the start of the day. Militant was very impressive, a mile in 1:57. Somebody said, where did that come from? Well, I did tell you he trained by himself in 59 the other day. And even when we raced him today, it wasn't easy. I warmed him up last trip. He was god awful. He was terrible. And we came in, ripped all the boots off him. Went with exactly what we did with Blanton's Blue. Just went with polos and vet wraps on him behind. Mostly I want to see if you're hitting to the point that you're getting out of gear, show me. Where is this terribly intense pain that you're going through with interfering? Took his knee boots off, taped his knees up. Now, there was a couple of scuff marks on his outside knee, but not even enough to break the vet wrap, to rip the vet wrap that was on his knees. So not really a big deal at all. And a couple of tense moments coming out of the gate, but once he settled in, he was great. And when I moved him, you never know. And if you guys go back, there was a couple of nights when we moved horses in that place, and it did not work out well. It didn't go the way you wanted. And you're like, you come with them, and you're like, you come with a full head of steam, you think you're a winner, and you end up with egg on your face because you moved the horse maybe too early or at all when you shouldn't have. And this was the opposite of that. I come with him. I knew 2 steps out of the hole he was probably a winner. Aaron was not committing to the outside. I was coming with a full head of steam. And I'm trying to think who's coming behind me. The favorite's right there to my left. I think for the speed we're going and what he feels like he has left in him, we're probably home and cooled out. And he certainly didn't take long proving that right. An 8.5 length romp. Just minor little things, unless you were there. I can tell you Chris was there. He drove all the way, him and his family, from New Jersey. The New Jersey area. 6.5 hours, drove all the way to Pennsylvania to watch Militant race. That was a leap of faith. And I guarantee he was rethinking his trip after the warm-up. I can tell you that. And then just to see the horse. But when push came to shove, I gave him an opportunity to do his work and be a horse. And I think, the default for a lot of these horses is the work we put into them and how we put it into them. And I think that shone through today with Militant. Just a great job by him to win. I forbid you never got a chance to race. That trip will probably pay dividends down the road for us and that filly. Such a slick gate, and then to watch Aaron slide through the inside and end up second. That's where I was supposed to be. But usually left is a graveyard. You're never going to get through there, and usually when you fan to the outside, there's somewhere to wiggle through. There just wasn't. Much like White Tiger the other night with James. Same type of thing, running into blind switch, finishing up under the wire. It sucks. It's hard to watch. It's tough to drive. But usually the next start they come out swinging. So we'll see if that's the case with I Forbid You. Activation. I had somebody say, are we going to race him in the Arden? Is he going back to, is he going to Kentucky? Just relax. He's a nice horse. He's not a sire stake horse. I don't know if he'd really do in the Arden. We'll see how that shakes out. And maybe some people don't like me to say that, but he's a nice horse, nice Stallion Series horse. He's going to do us some good this year, but he's not a sire stake horse. And there's nothing wrong with that. He did what he had to. Get the work done today. I don't think he'll race next week, and I have to check the calendar. I'm not going to bypass a stake race or something, but that is 4 weeks in a row for him. And I think his next start, if we get a chance to race him in some sort of a, I don't even know where you could now that I say it out loud, but if there was such a 2-year-old race he could race in, I'd like to race him without the hobbles on, because he feels like he's a little more focused now, and did train down for quite a while without the hobbles, and the only reason he ever needed them was just because he was such a goofball on the track, not paying attention. But today he put it together again and got the job done. I was very, very happy with him. Victory Blue Chip, trotting good right up until the break. I think just some, you see the head pull, the line pull broke on him, possibly the ring on the head halter, I don't know. Somebody said it wasn't his fault. He didn't run because of the head pull, right? You don't have to, convince Victory Blue Chip that it's time to make a break. He's made enough of them. And I think now he's done it twice now in that spot. So he is on the left line. He is running out in the straightaways. He probably is striking himself behind a little bit. So do we need to have a tiny little shoeing adjustment with him? It's possible. We'll see. I'll go with him his next start. We'll see what's up with Victory Blue Chip. But a little disappointed, not super shocked. He's done that before. We just have to keep him in a place where it's so hard because he's got such a slick gait. He's such a nice horse when you sit behind him. But festering underneath there is a horse that has made a lot of mistakes and hears a lot of voices. And not a lot of them are telling him very nice things. So he just needs to get his act together, and he'll do that. I think it's more green than, he's not an ignorant, rude horse. He's not putting forth a top effort as of right now. He did his first start. I thought he raced very well for Scott Zeron in his last start. But today again, did he have the broken equipment? Yes, but I'm not giving him an out. That is not why he made a break. And we'll work on him to get him squared away in the future. Merchant Man, I guess all I had to do was call him a professional loser on YouTube. Somebody must have shown him the video, because now he didn't just win today. Now, did it look like that horse coming might have got? Maybe. But he won. Again, he won. We do have avenues with this guy. I think he still fits in numbers 2. He could possibly go to Kentucky and race in the C division. Excuse me, you don't mind, I'm a little bit tired. He could race in the C division in Kentucky also. We do have options with him. No, he's not. I don't think he's gonna. He could be the type of horse that might surprise you come September, where he got better and better and better, and actually turned into a useful horse. Yeah, you could convince me of that. But if that isn't the path he chooses, he'll likely end up at On Gate at some point, I suspect. Nice horse. He'll do good things in the overnights for people, but when it comes to a horse that isn't sure if he wants to be a good horse and has put forth some pretty impressive underachievement in his career, I think I like the fact that he turned the page and he's won his last 2. Keep it going. Let's keep it going. Now, I watched him go. I'll tell you what, although it didn't work out for us, and I'll unpack the first race very importantly. The reason I didn't post-parade the horse, I wasn't there yet. So I owe a big shout out to the judges at Scioto Downs who literally allowed Donnie Irvine to post-parade Prince Charmer as I arrived at the racetrack. Literally, that's how close it was. And as close to running out of gas as I've ever been in my life. It was below 20 miles till it was empty when I got off the exit. And then it just switched from telling me how many miles I had left to a big sign that said low fuel on my car. So I was a little concerned. We did obviously get fueled up, but a big thanks to the judges. I know the horse made a break late in the stretch. Now, a lot went into that. I like Prince Charmer, and I think both him and Sweeney are both going to turn into very nice horses. They just need to put a lot of work in. And Prince Charmer was just tired when he made that break. We'd put the belly band hobbles on him, let his head down, put the go straight back on him. But just before he made a break, I heard the horse coming. Now, I think if he was in a pack and advancing more than he was, I think he might have been second. But he had just cleared off the inside, and there's another horse coming to him, and I hit him a swat, and I could hear him touch his knee twice. He get out of gear and he just rolled off. But it was more tired. It was my fault, truthfully. I should have just left him alone and accepted third place. But it's not in my nature. It's not in my nature. So, we went down swinging and I rolled the dice and I put him on the run. Now, had I had the back to the bike hobbles on him, I probably am sitting in the 2-hole, leaving the gate. So that's on me. That one's on me. But I like Prince Charmer, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with him. You're not going to see him make many breaks. And if he does, more times than not, it'll be on the person sitting behind him. Because he doesn't want to run, and he usually trots through everything. And tonight, Prince Charmer's break was solely on my shoulders, and I apologize. But I thought the horse did a pretty good job. You can see there's a big engine in there. Just all the parts aren't assembled yet. It's going to take work. You know who he reminds me of, now that I say it? Not the gait or anything, just the way I can see him coming forward, but not quite as fast as he was at 2, is Yes, right? He was very remedial, very mediocre, very much a meat and potatoes horse when he was 2, and he just got better and better and better. This guy's not quite as fast as Yes was, even at that stage, but I could see him advancing the same way, inch by inch by inch by inch. And Sweeney, the very same thing. I know Joel might be sitting home saying, I wish he hadn't left with him. Well, there was a 0% chance I wasn't going to leave with him if he come up to the gate and behaved himself. It's a 10-horse field on a 5/8 mile track in a 2-year-old trot race. I got a sure-footed horse from the outside. I'm coming out of there. And that's the way it is. And Sweeney got beat fair and square too. Got tired. We just need to help build those engines and those 2 horses. Some fair work would help. That trip to Urbana for the Buckeye will help. I think both of those horses a lot. And they'll get better and better as the season goes on. And I was happy with both of them. As I said, Prince Charmer was on me. I thought Sweeney raced as good as he could race. Got to get those flip-flops off him also. His knees do bother him a little bit, and he is quite comfortable in the flip-flops. I think without them on, he'd be better. Maybe we'll try him just with a trotting sweat shoe on and maybe a rim pad. maybe we can get through like that. I think he would be a better horse and get a hold of the track much better without the flip-flops on. So my goal will be to figure out a way to get those flip-flops off of him before his next start. I'll talk to Jason, I'm sure, about it, and Enos, our blacksmith, over the next few days. But happy with the way Prince Charmer and Sweeney raced. Now, in between, Drebin made a break, was at the track. He is a little off left front still. James said he was still off left front going on the track. Here's my question. He said he was running in pretty good and he lost him in the last turn. Okay. If he's off left front, how is he running in the last turn? And, it's just very rare that a horse would run in because he was off left front. I think there's a lot at play with Drebin, a lot. And I don't want to push him over the edge. So we're going to take tonight, I'm going to take tonight to think about what we're going to do with Drebin. Because here's the problem. He's been no worse or better. No, he's been better. He's been no worse over the last 3 months at any point than he is right now. It's easy to say it's his knee, because it probably is his knee. But what if it's not just his knee? What if his ankle's bothering him a little bit? It's so easy to look at a horse that you know his knee is hurting him and say, he's off. You're going to have to fix that knee up, right? A perfect example is Unbeatable Kemp. His knee hurt him quite a bit. We were always working on it, but it was his feet also that bothered him, right? So I'm left wondering, if it's just his knee and he's just inch by inch regressing and getting a little sore on that knee, then we just turn him out. And Drebin goes up to the gate, did his work well. That break tonight, you could see him struggling in the last turn, running in a little bit until he finally rolled off stride. Was it the track? Who knows? But if it's just that we can't get him to an optimal place where he's going to be sound and advance forward, then we'll just pull the plug. I think he's got a lot to offer as a 3-year-old. And the good thing about knees is, generally speaking, if you give them time, especially on a young horse, they'll all heal up. They'll heal up good. Now, even Akati, if you remember, had terrible knees at 2 and 3. In fact, I believe he had a line in one knee at 2 and the other at 3. But I don't think we even injected them at 4. And if we did, it was only maybe once. Time will heal them up. So, Drebin, we're going to do what's right for him moving forward. And if that means that we can advance and keep going, then we will, because I do believe, there is experience to be had there, and there is a way to push through, but I'm not going to push him over any edges. So we'll see how Drebin is over the next little bit. 5 Fish Species took her lifetime mark, 57-3 at Yonkers. Pretty good mile, enough to flush out a couple of our more prominent, or one of our more prominent owners, to say, hey, what about the Excelsior Series? I think it's a fair question. I know Scotty wasn't a big fan of it, mostly because, Scotty would like to go over to Saratoga when they're 4-5. So would I. Going all the way to Saratoga to race a filly that might be, 6 to 10 to 1. That didn't sound right. 6 to 1 too. 10 to 1. Can't really cut that. Maybe it's not that enticing to him, and that's just where Scotty is in his career. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't blame him any more than I would blame James for not going to Flamborough on a Sunday to drive our horses. There is a line for everybody to draw, right? But I think 5 Fish Species did race good enough tonight to at least warrant a start in the Excelsior A. I'm very impressed with her, and obviously you guys know the backstory here. This is Bomb Hugger's full sister. We bought her with some deficiencies. We took our time. I think Mario did a good job taking his time with the filly. He raced her in London, raced her once in Mohawk, and then we decided if she's going to race on half, it should be at Yonkers. Shipped her out to Yonkers. Megan has done a tremendous job with the filly, and if I'm not mistaken, tonight might have even been her first lifetime start on Lasix. Which, if that's the case, then clearly there was something going on there also. So, 5 Fish Species, a great win tonight. I'm going to stop everybody right there. 2 days, we've had 9 wins. 9 in 2 days. Pretty impressive. So, next was Gypsy Hill. I thought he wasn't as good the other day, or wasn't as good tonight sound-wise as he was the other day. His left stifle bothers him a little bit. And he hit that left shin, and it hurts a lot. when they hit there and actually bruise the shin. It hurts a lot. It really hurts a lot, and so happy that he just going to the gate. When I come on the track, I'm like, not quite as good as he was the other day, but by the time we turned and went to the gate, he was all business. I knew at the quarter pole, I didn't think that horse had enough soap to beat him. Gypsy was just kind of sitting there, licking his chops. I ducked him into the pass lane. I didn't even have to pull the earplugs, and he just kind of sauntered past to win. A good mile from him. Both him and the other colt were racing the Sire Stakes at Northfield. Again, we're trying to manage them the best we can, both in their staking level and geographically, right? The stake races are coming right back to Northfield Park next Wednesday. Neither of those horses did an enormous amount of work tonight, so I don't have a problem with that at all. Especially, I have to wonder, Gypsy Hill's a stud. Does he act up in the trailer? I know Jason probably would tell you he would know better. Does he act up in the trailer? Is he kicking the walls a little bit? Is this what I'm seeing? I didn't see it at Northfield the other day. I certainly saw it on Next Generation night. And I saw a little bit of it again tonight. So maybe staying at home is even better than we thought. So Gypsy Hill and Irresistible Sun will race in 6 days in the Sire Stakes at Northfield Park in their backyard. Very, very happy with Gypsy Hill tonight. I thought he was very professional in his victory. So as I said, Sweeney was good. Cutie Cumber did what she could. I know Megan said she wants to get her off the half for a few starts. I don't blame her. I'd love to see her put a really good mark on this filly also. Both her and Five Fish Species have some pretty substantial breeding value, residual broodmare value. We always knew that. So a 57-3 mark on a half for Five Fish Species, pretty good mark. To put even a faster one on a big track would be great, but to put one on Cutie Cumber would be important also. And I know that Megan and Scotty, they've done a great job with both these fillies, and can't wait to see Cutie Cumber. She will get there, and she will take a good mark. In fact, I wagered to Scott that she would take a mark of 55-3 by the end of September. See if I'm wrong. I don't think I am. And I was just on pins and needles watching Punch the Clock go to the gate. A little scary after the race. Amy said she was off right hind. Pulling up, she was off right hind. Running in, clearly coming out of the turn. So I thought the worst. The track was hard as a rock tonight. I was really concerned, and might have boiled over a little bit. Because, and in fairness, Johnny had told me he thought she was a little bit off right hind. At the start of the week, we had Dr. Rosenjack look at her. We injected her knees. I jogged her myself Tuesday. I didn't see any soreness right hind. Nothing to really speak of. So it was a little shocking to me. But again, when you hear she was a little sore after the race, did I miss something? Did I do something wrong? Why wasn't, I start to get angry. I'm here in Ohio. There's nothing I can do for her there in Ontario. So they pulled they did the right thing. Before we jumped to any conclusions on the filly, pulled the shoe off, and by the time they got her home, she was walking a lot better. So this happens sometimes when you shoe the horses. If you get a couple of those nails close to that weight line, we've talked about this many, many times. We have a lot of horses. They all get shod every single month. So you're going to see these types of things come up sometimes, but it's very frustrating when it happens. There's not much you can do about it. It's just one of those things, but happy to hear that she was fine afterwards. I think, just to be certain, because Johnny's going to go down. James said he thought he saw something right hind, and actually so did Dominic. They all said they thought something was right hind, so maybe just out of precaution, for obvious reasons. I think we'll scoot her over to the vet and get her looked at this week. James said she was a little bit flat. I thought she was a little anxious. I guess it's the easiest way. What my two eyes saw in the race was her pretty anxious the whole way. Finished up strong. Really happy with the way she finished up. Clearly a good horse inside there. But let's make sure all the wheels are secured next week. So we'll get Punchy over to that vet or see Dr. McKee this week. And then Irresistible Sun, he just did everything perfectly. Come off the car well. So professional. The way both those colts raced, he just, when I moved him, I knew he was a winner. I didn't know how he'd be when we moved him. How much does he got in him? Can he go right into attack mode? I didn't really need to kick the earplugs out when I cleared, but I didn't know how much pop Aaron had on the inside. The last thing I want to do is get picked off at 11:45 at night in a stake race with Irresistible Son going under the wire. That would have been full-on nuclear meltdown. So I did kick him out, and I chased him through the wire. I thought he finished up great and raced great. All in all, a very good day. You know, the only downsides of the day, I forbid you, got locked in. Victory Blue Chip made a break, Drebin made a break, and that's it. That's it. Two two-year-olds made breaks, and a filly got locked in. Pretty good day when you're starting as many horses as we did. How many? There's got to be 12 or 13 horses there. So 6 winners today, over 3 different states. Punch the clock. I thought raced great. Made my heart skip a little bit after the race, but all seems well now. And lots of racing coming up tomorrow. So feeling pretty blessed over the last 2 days. That's for sure. With all the horses racing good here in Ohio and Pennsylvania, we had a pretty good run. But as I told you yesterday, I was very proud of the way all of those horses raced in Philadelphia yesterday. So off to Pennsylvania tomorrow. I'm a little bit excited to race Crantini. I feel a little more confident that he's going to behave again. This is 3 starts in a row, qualifier and 2 races where he behaved himself. He did his work well. So Tim did have some vet work done on Crantini. You saw him finish up his mile last week. Hard on the left line. We'll probably remove the Murphy blind and just stick to the line pole on Crantini tomorrow. I'd love to see another flawless performance at the gate and in the warm-up and in the post-parade. And I would like to have him in a position tomorrow to go a pretty good mile, because we do. It's not oblivious and it's not lost on me that there's still a lot of major stakes on his calendar. So tomorrow we'll see. We'll have a better look under the hood tomorrow of Crantini. So really happy to race him. Just a lot going on over the next little while. We will get a little break, or I'll get a little break Saturday. I'm back home. I'm going to go to Georgian Down Saturday night. And then Sunday I think I'm off, if I'm not mistaken. We're back at it next week, and then I promised Addie Bear I'd take her to the fair. Amy can't come over. Ava's in camp. Ollie's got lots going on. It is my boy's birthday today. I'm going to give him a call right now. You know what that kid did? Just tell you what he did. He wanted to make sure that everything was good with the Ohio baseball team. He got in the car with Kirby, and came over to Ohio. They got pulled in at the border because there's a stranger with a 9-year-old boy seemingly going for a baseball tryout. They pulled them in. They called Amy from immigration. The border services called Amy to confirm the story of the bearded man. And they released him. Ollie got over there at 6:15. They left at 11:30. He got over there at 6:15. He tried out for 10 minutes, and the skies opened up. Now, this is the same team he played on last year, so there's some new kids showing up. But I would think, seniority being what it is, Ollie wouldn't need much more than a 10-minute tryout to ensure that everything was good with the Nordonia Knights. There was such a vicious thunderstorm that they actually were late getting back. They're driving back to Ontario right now, Kirby and Oliver. Oliver just turned 10 years old 44 minutes ago, so I'm going to give him a call on the phone, wish him a happy birthday. Just so proud of the work ethic he's shown. A lot of kids would just not get in the car and go, and I didn't force him. It was his choice. He's going home tonight because he's trying out for an all-star team that he already knows he probably can't make. And it's for 10 and 11-year-olds. He just turned 10 today. But as I said to Oliver, it's a good experience. Go out, try out, get to see how the other kids play the positions you play, listen to what the coaches are saying. I think the coaches in Guelph have done such an exceptional job, and coached him in Ohio. It's just the level of patience. You know, I'd send a note out to the baseball team in Guelph this week saying, you know, I have a tough time getting my kids to clean their rooms. You taught 9 of them how to play all together, play a game that's very difficult and make it look second nature. These guys are volunteers, and it just, hard to believe. It's hard to believe that people can put forth so much time out of their schedule to teach baseball. Just to coach it is just incredible. So Oliver turned 10 today, trying out tomorrow. Unfortunately, I can't be there. I'm going to be in the Meadows, but can't wait. He's still got a lot of baseball in Ontario, so I can't wait to see him play. Maybe he's playing on Sunday. I'll have to ask him. Anyway, babbling a little bit, but I'm half an hour into a 2-hour and 10-minute drive. I will be home at 2:01, it says, so probably just before 2 a.m. I'm going to crawl into bed. No rush tomorrow. I'm going to go to the barn. We got a couple of horses to train, and then I only have to be at the Meadows for 6 o'clock. If I'm feeling really spry and the races are on time tomorrow, I might make a run for home, which would put me home a little bit earlier than I'm going to be back to Macedonia tonight. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a wonderful rest of your week. It has been a fantastic run this week in July 2023 for us. So take care. I'll talk soon.